Hi, I'm Chris. In the summer of 2005, my family and I had an experience of a lifetime. We were aboard the Carnival cruise ship Sensation, heading out on our family annual cruise. Once Katrina cleared the Atlantic Ocean and devastated parts of Florida, we found ourselves the next victims before it touched land again and wiped out the U.S. Gulf Coast. First labeled as a tropical depression, Katrina began in the Bahamas off the Atlantic Ocean on August 23rd. In 24 hours, it was upgraded to a tropical storm, and in 48 hours, it had turned into a Class 2 hurricane off the coast of Florida. The scale used to determine the class of a storm is referred to as the Saffir-Simpson Hurricane Intensity Scale, created in the 70s. A hurricane is a huge storm with spiraling high winds ranging from 74 miles per hour and up. Hurricane season is from June 1st to November 30th. Katrina caused damage to more than 6 U.S. states, starting in Florida on the 25th and dissipating over Mississippi and Kentucky by the 30th. Hurricanes begin as tropical storms over the warm, moist waters of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans near the equator. As the moisture evaporates, it rises until enormous amounts of heated, moist air are twisted high in the atmosphere. The winds begin to circle counterclockwise north of the equator or clockwise south of the equator. The relatively peaceful center of the hurricane is called the eye. Around this center, winds move at speeds between 74 and 200 miles per hour. As long as the hurricane remains over waters of 79 degrees Fahrenheit or warmer, it continues to pull moisture from the surface and grow in size and force. When a hurricane crosses land or cooler waters, it loses its source of power, and its winds gradually slow until they are no longer of hurricane force, less than 74 miles per hour. I sat down with a few family members to discuss their Katrina and other hurricane experiences.
Is now in the Gulf of Mexico and growing stronger rapidly after leaving at least 6 people dead in South Florida. Many heavily populated areas there are in deep water and without power.
New computer information just coming in tells us that now there's a possibility of this storm even shifting further west, perhaps even involving the New Orleans metropolitan area. Of course, New Orleans is one of the most vulnerable hurricane places, if not the most vulnerable in the country.
We were going to New Orleans to catch a cruise out of New Orleans going down into the Gulf of Mexico. We arrived on Friday, August 26th in the late afternoon and went to get a rental car and then checked into our hotel.
We decided to take a cruise out of New Orleans because we usually take our cruises out of LA, and it gives us the Pacific side of Mexico, and we wanted to sort of see a more exotic side of Mexico, so we decided to go on the Gulf side. So we scheduled a cruise out of New Orleans to go to Cozumel and Costa Maya.
We arrived and we had some dinner in town, and when we checked back into the hotel later on that evening, we had learned that the state of Louisiana was under a state of emergency, which had been put out by the governor of Louisiana.
I called your mom first, and I said, you guys, it's dangerous. And she told me, you know, because the news was talking about how bad it was. And whenever I was first talking to your mom on the phone, when you guys were in New Orleans, you were walking the streets looking for a dinner place. And that was the night before you left. And then you got out on the ship and you were able to leave early.